mucus and mucous membranes and mucus production so that it traps the virus, and then to get rid of it, specific nutrients that those cells need. So we need to be giving them those. They go and they break all that down and they clear up everything in our airway. Thion is our master antioxidant. It's like the most important antioxidant we could. Yes, this is important to know right now. Get through this, and that there are many ways, many ways. And that's why there are many videos. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Whole Wellness Method video. I am Lida Sportel at the upcoming lidashealing.com and founder of the Whole Wellness Method, and we are continuing our discussion on getting through the coronavirus crisis with you. And specifically in this video, I want to continue our discussion on mucous membranes. So hopefully you've watched the video before this one that I talked about why you should even care about your mucous membranes. And hopefully that video helped you pay a little more attention to the whole discussion around mucus and mucous membranes and mucus production. And so hopefully, again, this video will make more sense as to why I'm even talking about this. So what I want to talk about in this video though is what are the ways that we can boost mucus production to a certain degree, because we don't want too much mucus production. You probably know that when you get sick and you have too much mucus, that can lead to other problems and other respiratory issues. So we want that mucus to be just enough so that it traps the virus, and then to get rid of it. So there is a balance of how much mucus we want, but also we want to talk about how do we nourish those mucous membranes? How do we nourish the first line of defense that our body has to fight viruses? Because again, it's not just a discussion about boosting immune system, it's also about boosting the first line of defense, the structural, the physiological elements that our body has, that is has its own wisdom to know how to fight viruses. So let's talk about some of these things that can really boost the health of the mucous membranes and moderate how much mucus we produce so it doesn't become excessive, but it's not ineffective either. So one of the first things is something very simple, and that is hydration. Okay, I hear so many people talk about, hydrating and drinking enough water, and it's great. I mean, we all know we need to be drinking a lot of water, and half of our body weight is how much I suggest to my clients to be drinking that in ounces, half of your body weight. But we don't really understand fully why it is so important to be hydrating. And one of the important reasons, especially right now that we're all more motivated to take care of our health, and now it seems like we're all paying more attention to those fundamental health practices that all of us should really be practicing, whether there's a coronavirus out there or not. But now it seems like we're paying more attention. And one of these ways that we really need to pay more attention is that by hydrating, we are really nourishing our mucous membranes. We are nourishing that first line of defense that our body has against viruses. And the reason is because the mucus if it goes dry, if we're dehydrated, which by the way, I see that a lot in the blood work that I work on with my clients. They bring me their blood work, and I have many markers in there that help me understand if there's dehydration in the body. It doesn't mean just that I'm thirsty. It means like dehydrated on a cellular level. So I see that so frequently. And they tell me, well, I drink enough water. So sometimes it is a matter of what water you're drinking and if it has enough electrolytes in it. So I will suggest a water filter system and some electrolytes added to it, but also other ways to hydrate that I will have a separate video on talking on that topic. But if the mucus doesn't get enough water, it goes dry. And if it's dry, it cannot be effective against viruses. So it is very important. Dr. Michael Murray says that the mucins in the mucus are able to bind 1,000 times their weight in water. Without sufficient water, they're not able to grow. If they're not able to grow and they go dry, then the virus comes into our respiratory system. Our mucous membranes are dry, so they cannot effectively trap that virus. They cannot effectively, like I was describing in the previous video, those brush-like structures cannot effectively brush off the virus, and the virus goes straight into wherever it goes to, and it starts replicating. So just as simple as hydrating, and like I was saying in another video as well, to be drinking water or bone broth or herbal teas or any of the other suggestions that I offer you every 15 to 30 minutes is ideal, especially right now. So that is the first simple way to boost mucous membranes, the health of our mucous membranes. So that was hydration. Number 2 is to provide the nutrients that our mucous membranes need to be able to, for those cells to be able to nourish these cells, the epithelial cells in our mucous membranes. They need nutrients. So they have specific nutrients that those cells need. So we need to be giving them those. And if our diet is not optimal, and now with the food, supply in general, but even the way our food and our soil and all these, it's a whole different discussion about the food industry right now, but we still can't get enough of those nutrients, even if we're eating a really healthy diet, let alone if we're not eating a really healthy diet. So what I do suggest is certain nutrients, either through a multivitamin formula that is sourced from really good the sourcing has to be very clean. They have to be doing certain testing, and they have to be also products that are very absorbable into your body. So I will provide some ideas of the products that I like to use with my clients for a multivitamin formula. But if you also want just specific nutrients for your mucous membranes, it's things like vitamin A, which is a super antiviral, antioxidant, fat-soluble vitamin, vitamin D, which is both vitamin A and D have been linked to, if you are deficient in vitamin A or vitamin D, you are more prone to viral infections to begin with. So this is not just a discussion about mucous membranes, this is a discussion about overall immunity. But I do have separate videos telling you about specific vitamins and minerals that I suggest. But again, vitamin A and D needed for our mucous membranes. Zinc needed for our mucous membranes. And so it's many different vitamins and minerals. I think it's best to just use a multivitamin formula and some electrolytes in your water to make sure that that respiratory mucous membranes have all they need to function the way they know how to function if we give them what they need. So that was number 2 of the ways to really help boost the health of our mucous membranes. The third way is to use proteolytic enzymes. I do talk about that in other videos. These are systemic enzymes that we take on an empty stomach, and they go and they go and dissolve where there's too much mucus, and they go and they dissolve particles that are interfering with the mucus production, and they go and they reduce the thickness of the mucus, but they help the production of the mucus that is necessary just so it has the ability to fight those infections, and it allows the mucus to flow and transport the way it needs to be transporting. So it's a pretty complex mechanism. I don't want to go into the biology and the physiology of it. I just want to give you the key points here. Those proteolytic enzymes like serrapeptase, nattokinase, bromelain, and other ones that I will link to below. And I do have some of my favorite products that I like to use. Some of those actually have studies behind them that show reduction in things like bronchitis, complete resolution of bronchitis and pneumonias and asthma and other inflammatory conditions and respiratory problems, because they go and they digest, they break down all those microorganisms that have been causing the inflammation, the killing of the cells in the lungs and the respiratory tract. They go and they break all that down and they clear up everything in our airways. And they're just amazing in so many different ways, let alone all the other benefits they have, which I will talk about in a whole separate video. So that was number 3. And then number 4 is a wonderful ingredient called NAC, N-acetylcysteine. So let's talk about that one. So NAC is a wonderful amino acid that a lot of practitioners who are familiar with NAC, they are more familiar with it because of its ability to really cleanse the liver. And it's a precursor to glutathione. And glutathione is our master antioxidant. It's like the most important antioxidant we could have in our bodies. And so a lot of people who use NAC, it's because they want to boost glutathione levels in their body, which is something we all need. But not a lot of people know that NAC also is fabulous in supporting the respiratory tract and the mucous membranes that we're talking about. So Dr. Michael Murray here is saying that if you, first of all, have an inflammatory chronic health condition, if you have any chronic respiratory issues, or if you have diabetes or obesity or any other chronic health conditions, the chances are that you do have low glutathione levels. So just that is making you a little more prone to infections and to being more susceptible to the effects of the coronavirus that we're talking about right now. So it is important to start boosting those glutathione levels. One way is to take NAC as a supplement. Another way is to take straight up glutathione as a supplement. You just got to make sure you find really good glutathione products that are absorbing into your body, because glutathione is hard to absorb if you just go and buy whatever supplement you find. So NAC sometimes is easier if you cannot find the right glutathione supplement, but I will link to my favorite ones and you can check that out as well. So, but NAC boosts glutathione levels. Glutathione is a master antioxidant. It helps in so many different ways, including our respiratory system. However, that's not the only thing that NAC does. The other thing that NAC does is that it's a mucus modifying agent. Okay, and Dr. Murray is saying it has been used orally with great success, as well as in hospitals through breathing tubes, to help people dealing with inefficient or thick mucus in acute and chronic lung conditions such as emphysema, bronchitis, chronic asthma, and cystic fibrosis. So these are pretty, amazing facts that we already know these things. So why are we not using NAC in every hospital right now? Yeah, so I'm not going to go into that frustration of why are we not using vitamin C IV and why are we not using NAC and, all these different things we could be using. But I just want to raise your awareness on this and realize that these things have been used before with amazing success. NAC helps to reduce the viscosity of bronchial secretions. NAC has been found to improve the ability of the cilia, that's what I was telling you before, those cells, the epithelial cells in the respiratory tract, they help them clear mucus, increasing the clearance rate by 35%. NAC can improve bronchial and lung function, reduce cough, improve oxygen saturation in the blood when the respiratory tract is being challenged. I mean, yes, this is important to know right now, given how many people are dying, given how overwhelmed the hospitals are with people who are having really challenging respiratory lung issues. Their lungs are very challenged. So yeah, it's just important to be reading these things, to be sharing these things, to be talking about these things, and to see if on an individual level there's something we can do, because sometimes it's hard to change the system, but we have to start with ourselves and see what we can do, what we can control, and start there. So again, by no means am I saying this is the panacea, this is the treatment. None of that is what I'm saying. I'm just giving you the facts, giving you the data, giving you the facts, giving you the studies and the things that have been proven already, that we've been using for hundreds of years. And some of the natural medicine and the natural remedies have been around forever. So let's use those. So that was the NAC discussion, and that was the whole mucous membrane discussion and how to boost that specifically. I hope you have found this helpful. I hope it gives you a little more that feeling that we can get through this, and that there are many ways, many ways. And that's why there are many videos and tips I'm sharing with you. So I will see you next time in the next video, leaving you in whole wellness. Bye-bye.